All right, so now what we're going to be working on is a vertical surface. In this case, we have a full height backsplash, but this logic is going to apply to any one vertical surface that you're working with. For example, a fireplace, a shower wall, or like this, a full height backsplash. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be tracing the inside of this around the cabinetry, and I'm going to use this blue tape as my termination point or wall or whatever it may be in your instance. So what I'll do is I'll trace the outsides here, and then I'll be adding some details on here with some of the alternate tools, and I'll be talking a little bit as I'm shooting around, so you guys can see, why I'm shooting this way, and where I'm shooting as well. So let me take you over to my camera or my laser's perspective, and we'll get started. Okay, so now what we have is we're going to start off with our vertical axis. So this is similar to our x-axis that we did before. Now, the same logic applies for movement. What I'm going to be doing is using the second tool on the toolbar, and this is going to perform the function just like the x. So 1 point on the left, 1 point on the right. Now, when you are working on vertical surfaces, I would highly recommend you mark your points like I have here. You may see that on screen, and then shoot these points again left to right. So I'll go ahead and I'll take my first one. Let's see here, right about there. Now, what I'm going to do again is keep these relatively level. They do not need to be perfectly level, but I definitely don't want to have them, totally vertical from each other. I don't want to have my first point way over here, and then my second point, way up by where this is. Definitely don't want that. Want them more level than not, if you will. So you can eyeball that, and you'll be totally fine. So what I'm going to do is swap over to whatever tool is appropriate to trace the geometry. Okay, what I mean by that is if I have a line in front of me or a cabinet that's straight, I'm going to use the line tool. If I have, a radial open at the top of a door, I might use the spline tool or the radius, whichever one is appropriate for me. In my case, I have just regular lines. So I'm going to be selecting that. And then I'm going to go around and just basically take 2 points on each one of these lines, and that's going to give me a trace of where we're at. So I will start down at the bottom here. There we go. Now you can see what I've got is contact with the bottom of the cabinetry there. Now the cabinetry that I have in this situation is gapped off of the wall, meaning I can almost kind of stick my finger behind there a little bit. So I want to be on the bottom of the cabinetry so that way it sticks flat to my construction plane, which would be my wall, that vertical wall where everything is being drawn flat to. So I'm going to go ahead and shoot these points. Here's one. And do the same thing down on this one. Now, if you are using your X6 or your ICS in the laser mode, if you will, you do want to have good visibility. So that way you can make contact with each one of these points that you might need to. So we'll move over here, and well, again, this is my fake termination point or an adjacent wall in this situation. Just kind of making that up for the video's purpose here. So I'll go ahead and do this. Here we are. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to move over. In the case of a full height backsplash, I'm going to actually ignore the cabinetry here. I'm going to do a little trick for that later. We'll see that. But we're going to move over to this here, and we're just going to go ahead and take these points up this side. There we go. Moving up here. Very simple, very easy to do. Honestly, one of the easiest things you can do, I think, with this software is vertical surfaces just because of how it's handled. But I do have a nifty little trick here. You notice I have a piece of tape hanging down, if you will. You can see probably vaguely on the camera, but half of it is light and half of it is dark. Half of it's hanging off the cabinetry and half of it's clearly on it. This is a nifty trick you can use if you don't have the greatest angle or ability to shoot the bottom of your cabinetry or whatever surface you need. Not a necessary trick, just a nifty trick that you can do. It's giving the laser basically a backboard to shoot, and it kind of can make it easier for you. And all it is just simple painter's tape. Okay. Now, most of these situations I had either, a tape line or I had the cabinetry that was gapped off of the wall. In this situation, on the side, the cabinetry is not. It's making direct contact with the wall there. You can see that there is in fact no gap behind there at all. I can't even fit my fingernail. In that situation, you may find some success, especially if you're using your ICS 50 pen, putting the pen directly in the corner. But what you can do is either offset or use the cabinetry to your advantage like you did before. So you could shoot directly in the corner like this, getting absolute corner value. This on the cabinetry would also give you a corner value because it would project flat to the plane. Or you could use an outside point by a known distance. If you perhaps made a mark 1 inch away, you could then offset later using your software. Either one of these is going to be correct, and you can use any one of those tricks to your advantage whenever you need them. So same thing up here. I'm just going to be making contact. Actually, we'll put it on the cabinetry up here just to make it a little easier on ourselves. Here we are. Now I am going right back onto the cabinetry here because there is a gap back there. And if I were to put that laser behind there, see if you can see it on camera a little bit. It kind of goes behind the cabinetry a little bit there. It's disappearing a little bit. It might be difficult to see, but it is behind there. You got a little bit of a glow on screen. But I'm going to put it on the edge of the cabinetry there. Take that point and do the same thing over here. Here we are. All right. Now for these last 2 points, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my ICS. Now you may be using an X6 and be doing it the way that I just was, using your laser. But I do want to show that with the ICS, you may have, issues with the laser going straight on or being too close or being too tight of an angle. ICS does not have that issue. Again, I can just simply put my remote where I want and just take the point like so. There we go. And I'll do another one right here. There we go. Simple as that. You can do that. You can see how the laser's following the pen around as well. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to talk about that trick that I was mentioning about the full height backsplash. So in this case, you may use this in alternate scenarios as well. Really what it's going to do is it's going to give you the true horizontal line that you may want. So in this case, I'm going to actually swap over to the point mode on my software. And I'm simply going to measure out where the material would be in this scenario. So a lot of times you can go ahead and find the uneven parts of the cabinetry, find the level, whatnot. And in my case, I have a pencil mark that I have used as a reference for that. And I would simply just take that one point there. And now because this plane that I have shot originally is one horizontal, perfectly level plane, regardless if your points were or not, I will be able to use that to my advantage and snap a level line on that a little bit later. So we'll just take a look at that in editing as well. So in this case, we're going to move on and we're going to go to shooting our outlets and any other details that we have on there. We're going to start with the rectangle tool. That's going to be located right about here. And then we have two outlets here. We have a double gang and just a single outlet, if you will. So these are going to be used exactly the same way. And you can shoot these in any order that you want. It's opposite corners. So in this case, I'm going to start with the bottom left corner. Now, clearly, you're not going to want to, shoot the plate itself if you're doing a full height backsplash. Don't make that mistake. Take the plate off and shoot the box. But this is really just for reference for you to see that I'm doing a rectangular shape. So I go ahead and shoot this, and again, opposite corners. I started with bottom left. I took the top right, and I could have done that in any order. And now you can see, if I take a look at my drawing, it is actually right where it should be. And I can do the same thing. I can go right into the next one. So let me swap back to my camera perspective. And then I can do the double gang here. It's not quite a double gang, I guess. It's a light switch and an outlet. But I'm doing top left here. And then I'm going to do bottom right. So this is opposite of what I did on the other one, just to show you that it works. Now you can see, we'll take a quick look at my drawing here in just a second. Oh, you can see it already. So we've got that in place. So now we have a circle. We're going to be using the circle tool here. You could also just simply take a single point if you wanted and shoot the center. That's fine, but we already know how to take points. That's not an issue. I just want to display the circle tool itself. We just are going to take 3 points along the edge of the circle, and it's going to create the circle for us. Those 3 points can really be anywhere on the circle, and it's going to give you the correct value there. So done 3 are around an arc-like shape around here. And then once it creates that, you should be able to see the circle on my software, and there it is. All right, so now we'll jump into editing.